Hello my loves, welcome back to Zeke's Lunchbox. Today I'm revealing a new tarot card. If you follow me on Instagram, I have released this a little early. I couldn't wait anymore. I was pretty desperate to just show the world the latest tarot cards. So if you guys don't follow me over on Instagram, make sure you head over there so you can see all the goodness before YouTube. But before YouTube and before Instagram, there's Patreon. Now, I'm probably going to keep on talking about my Patreon for the next couple of videos, actually probably for the rest of the videos, just because you guys have been killing it over there. Everybody who's supporting me over on Patreon already, just incredible. You have no idea how much that extra money just takes the pressure off and really lets me focus on the tarot card project just that little bit more. So if you want to support my art, any of that, see some content behind the scenes, early videos, extra videos, podcasts, etc., you can head over to my Patreon. So today we're going to talk about the moon. I'm pretty excited to chat about this one. Now I'm going to try and break down all of the symbols and how I chose to go about it, why I decided this particular composition. I'll go through each creature as well as the moon and why I've made them a stack. So the moon is all about dream logic. So the card is, filled with surrealism and it's all about the subconscious. The moon stands for all that we can't understand rationally, and it is our wild side and our fishy intuitive side. So each of the characters, so the dog, the wolf, and the crustacean, it's kind of a mix between like a crab, crustacean, lobster thing. It looks like a lobster, but I have kind of compiled a bunch of crustacean animals all popped together. The card is kind of meant to have like a Lynchian, like a David Lynch vibe to it. It's meant to feel really weird, inexplicable, things that you would not expect. Now we're due for a little check-in, but when we come back, I will break down all the symbols in the moon. Hi, it's me. We're doing a check-in. We're doing the moon card. I'm starting to find like patterns when it comes to the tarot card stuff. The major arcana have 3 different planes. I forgot the order and the names of the planes, but I've got a visual story running throughout all 3 layers. And then the top, which I believe is the Fool, the color scheme of that one's going to be pretty different, but I'm trying to have similar colors running through each plane. So with the moon, because it's a nightscape and I've done a lot of dayscapes, that's the right term, right? It still has a sky, but I need to change it to like a deep blue, finding that a little bit hard. I don't want to stress too much about making all the planes like the same color. I think visually it still reads pretty well. This is probably the first artwork I've done with like full primary colors. Normally I work in like a secondary color scheme, but primary colors I don't normally work with. So I'm finding this one like really happy. Primary colors always remind me of like primary school. I know that's like, it seems silly, but I think maybe that's because like that's when you learn about colors and the color wheel. I'm getting a real like joyous feeling from this card. I know this card is more meant to be like mysterious and talking about your subconscious, and that's definitely how I've laid everything out. The ground I've been finding quite challenging because I'm so used to painting like actual subject matter. When it comes to landscapes or environments, it's really my biggest weak point with my pieces, and if anything it's like the 3rd element in the whole piece, so I don't want to focus too much time and energy in it. But I am finding it difficult to render the mountains slash faces and have them look mountain-esque but also face-esque. Yeah, because it's more of a background element. I don't need to focus too much on it, okay? All right, let's keep painting. Okay, so now that I've introduce all of the symbols in the card and the vibe and the mood that the card is meant to have, let's start off with the dog. The dog is meant to be the tame side of the mind, so the obedient side of your mind. I wanted to convey that in a pretty obvious manner. I wanted him to be at the very top, like he was you know, looking off towards his top dog, his master, and, you know, really obeying and conveying that obedient side. The wolf is meant to be your wild side, or the wild part of your mind. That's why I wanted to, you know, have the wolf yelling out to the moon. It's all pretty obvious stuff, but I do like how place them kind of in an order of like what you show to the world, what you show to your closest friends, and then what you only show to yourself, which would be the lobster. So the lobster is, from what I believe, it comes out of the primordial lake in the original Rider-Waite deck. To me, it seemed like the lobster crustacean thing was, you know, sneaking out of the depths, just like, I don't know, hidden thoughts that you would have in your mind. Interesting fact, in the Rider-Waite deck, Rider-Waite-Smith, I believe, is the full term, but I'm just going to call it the traditional tarot card deck. The moon features a crustacean, and it's probably, I think, the only card that features a crustacean, which is pretty exciting to me, because I really love animals that are just, you know, pretty freaky, but sweet. But yeah, I think they're pretty on brand if you guys are familiar with my work. Hello everyone. I have my jumper on backwards. I'm still wearing the same shirt from a couple days ago, by the way. Lobsters, insects, any crustacean or like creature with a hard exoskeleton sort of deal, or some kind of shell, I find my like comfortable space when it comes to animals. I just find like, I know, because it's like a hard surface, I know how to render that, and I'm not finding that too challenging. The only difficult part that I'm finding right now is trying to work out my tones, because I'm making it red, but if I make the lobster red and I want each animal to get like gradually lighter in tone, that means like the moon and the Labrador are gonna be like similar yellows, and I'm not sure if I want that. I want the moon to be like a very light pastel yellow, and then I want the dog to be like a warm yellow. So I guess I'll work that out when I get there. Okay, check in a couple more days. I wanted the mountains, when I was researching this card, I wanted the mountains in the back. Obviously, I needed to feature mountains because the primordial pool lake body of water swindles in to the mountains. So when I was researching the card, I did see that some examples of like faces in landscapes, and I thought that was a really good way of visually representing what, you know, dream logic is like. To me, it really reminds me of that episode in The Simpsons when Homer gets high off chilies, and it's got that, you know, shape-shifting landscape sort of feel. Because the card does have, you know, dream logic, surrealism to it, I wanted it to feel like a Rene Magritte painting almost, you know. I love how Magritte does surrealism, just takes what we normally experience but then changes the scale of it. So to me, that completely explains what dream logic is about. You know, things that we know but they're not in the right order. In the original deck, it also had 2 pillars or 2 towers. I had a completely different composition. I had something that was pretty similar to the original tarot card design, but I was just finding for my needs, I really don't like symmetry in my work. I find it's just incredibly stiff and boring. So it's unfortunate that that is something that's recurring in a lot of the tarot card decks. Whoa, hello everybody. Hello. Okay. Another check-in. So I'm pretty happy with the way it's going so far. I think because I'm just doing primary colors, I'm not doing anything too experimental. I also feel like because I've got a whole backlog of other tarot cards to work from, I can see what colors have worked in the past, and I can just kind of pull that routine into this current piece. So I more just want to, I wish I could just paint a lot quicker because it's getting frustrating with how slow I am. If I didn't have anything else in terms of like social media, design work, getting these videos up, packing orders, just all the other stuff, if I was just purely painting, I think I could knock out a tarot card a week. like draw it, paint it, scan it, design it, have it all up in a week. But alas. I will do one more check-in with you in maybe tomorrow or the day after, and card should be done. Yeah, symmetry is something that's constantly recurring in tarot, so I'm not the biggest fan of that, so I wanted my towers to be, you know, these asymmetrical poles. When I was researching, I also read that the towers were meant to have like this perceived stability, so a perceived strength, and I thought that these like rickety little poles kind of were perfect at representing, you know, that perceived stability. These three characters are working together to climb this imaginary building or a fake tower. I thought that was kind of, yeah, a little bit neat, and I liked, as soon as I had that breakthrough and I was sketching it, I was like, ooh, I'm onto something. I liked the idea of just all of them being stacked, all the animals being stacked, because, you know, it's meant to represent all the different layers and levels of our subconscious or our mind. So all of them kind of combining together, working together to climb this stacked tower, I think fits well with representing what our minds are. I also just want to quickly mention a couple of things that I jotted down in my journal when I was going through the card. My process for when I'm making a piece, I try and research the card quite a bit beforehand, and I will then, you know, write everything down, just because for me that helps to cement a lot of the thoughts in my mind. So I constantly have that at the back of my mind, so I have like a goal of the mood that I'm trying to transcend with the piece. But just to finish it all up and see if I accomplish what the card is meant to set out and represent. So upright, the card is the ideas of illusion, fear, anxiety, subconscious, and intuition. I think you can kind of read that into a lot of the general vibe of it. I hope that makes sense. But when I was designing the card, those were the kind of themes that I was trying to constantly tap back into. But when the card is reversed, it means the release of fear, repressed emotion, and inner confusion. So to me, this card is pretty interesting because it seems like the upright version, I mean, typically the other cards from what I've researched, typically when they're upright, I guess the more positive side of whatever the theme of that card entails, and then the reverse is the negative. And this one's interesting because it seems like the upright version is, you know, meant to represent danger. I guess it's, you know, it's meant to be the quote unquote negative of what the themes are for this card. So what I wrote down in my notes, just bullet points for what the card kind of represents, is bad energy, danger, deception, false friends, fears, infidelity, and intuition. Yeah, it seems like when you are doing a reading with this card, if you get it, it feels like it's a really amazing warning. It's literally like a stop sign, like stop what you're doing, think about who is around you, reevaluate things. Honestly, if I got the moon in a reading, I would be pretty scared to get this if it was upright, which is, yeah, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I kind of wish I had more of an alarmist feel with this card, like it did feel like a stop sign almost. That's not what I perceived when I first drew it. I'm kind of really coming to this conclusion now. But it to me, it seems, you know, when I do these interpretations, or my interpretations of the Zeke cards of tarot, I'm visually reading what the original Rider-Waite card is like, and then I take those elements, research the elements, and extrapolate them and put them all together. I think from now on I need to think about the big picture and the theme just a tad more. At the same time, it's pretty difficult to have an obedient, happy Labrador and then have that represent something that's like fear and danger, you know? But at the same time, I still think this card does its job. I hope, you know, when the whole deck is done, I just hope to never get, I hope to never pull this card upright ever. I would be scared. All right, well, that's it from me, you guys. Thank you so much for watching and, you know, listening to my thoughts on how I tackled this card. Stay tuned for the final shots. Alright, you guys, we are at the end. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really happy. I'm also very used to seeing the cards on screen and looking really shiny, and I always forget, like, they look really velvety in person. There's something that's like, colors on screen still look great, printed they still look good, but there's something about seeing it in person. It can't be beat, truly. Go to your local gallery and see the painting in person. It doesn't compare to what it looks like on screen. Never, never, never. My business partner Julian really likes this dog because it reminds him of his dog, so we shall call this dog Lion Floss from now on. As I mentioned, I feel like all the different characters in this, you know, play their role and they're meant to evoke that mood. So the dog's like obedient and playful, and I'm really getting a lot of that from him. Out of all of these three characters, I relate to this guy the most, to be quite frank. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What would you change about it? Critique it? What are some things that how would you interpret the moon card? What would your moon card look like? Would you completely get rid of all the animals? Would you just have a solo moon? I've been seeing a few of those around. Yeah, let me know. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. I will have all my links of all of my socials, all the things that you should be going to, all the things that you should be watching. Honestly, everything I have in life is in the description below. You can go over to Patreon and my shop if you want to support your gal. Okay? Catch you later. Bye.